So you're tired of folding everyone else's paper airplanes and you want to design your own, but you're not sure how to begin. Perfect. This video was made just for you. In this video, we'll examine some successful paper airplane designs and see if we can arrive at some basic principles for designing excellent planes that will soar to the far side of the gym rather than fly like the falling leaves that so often plague a new designer. But before we get to that, let me begin by saying this. There are no agreed upon rules for paper airplane design. I personally get the most enjoyment out of folding origami planes. That means no tape, no scissors, just the folding of paper. But some people use scissors, tape, staples, paper clips, glue, and other devices in the construction of their planes. And there's no problem with that. We're designing paper airplanes to have fun, and no one gets to decide what's fun for you except you. Furthermore, there is no best paper airplane. Different planes are cool for different reasons. And the fact that there are so many paper airplanes is cool in itself. Some planes fly really far, some planes fly for a long time, and some planes just look sweet. You get to decide what's most important to you, but for the sake of this video, let's narrow the discussion to this. Let's examine origami planes folded from a single sheet of paper without any cutting or taping, and I'll be operating under the assumption that we're trying to design a plane that either flies a long distance or flies for a long period of time. If you're hoping to design a plane that flies far, you'll probably want to go with fairly narrow to very narrow wings. If you want to design something that flies for a long time, wider wings are probably a better choice. But in either scenario, there are some general principles worth knowing. Let's begin by considering the four major forces that act on any plane. We have thrust, that's what makes the plane go forward. Drag, that's what slows the plane down. Gravity, which pulls the plane back to Earth. And lift, which keeps the plane aloft. To create a successful paper airplane design, you should maximize thrust and lift and minimize drag. It would also help to minimize gravity, but we can't easily do that without leaving the planet. So assume that gravity remains the same for each paper airplane. So how do we maximize thrust and lift, and how do we minimize drag? Let's look at those one at a time. On real airplanes, thrust is created by turbines or other engines and can continue to be created during the course of flight. But all of a paper airplane's thrust comes from the initial throw. So in order to maximize the amount of thrust your paper airplane can achieve, it needs to be constructed in such a way that it can be thrown quite hard. Again, I don't want to discount the fact that there are some awesome paper airplanes that require gentle throws, but remember that in this video we're defining good performance in strict terms in order to narrow the conversation. So for now, we'll ignore those planes in preference for planes that can withstand a high launch velocity, because it's those planes that will fly farthest or for the longest amount of time. In order for a paper airplane to survive hard throws, its wings must have strong leading edges. Here I've folded several of my planes out of transparent vellum. Though the construction of each plane is dramatically different, you can see that each of them has the highest concentration of layers on the front edge of its wings. This helps the wing hold its shape at high speeds and maximizes its thrust potential. Having a high concentration of layers on the front of the plane also helps to maintain its forward momentum without stalling. So a strong and heavy leading edge is important for this reason as well. Next, let's consider how to maximize lift. It's no secret that the wings of your paper airplane are the things generating the lift. So you should just make the wings as big as possible, right? Well, yes, and still somehow no. This is one of the balancing acts of designing a paper airplane. The longer you make the wings of your plane, the less paper you have left to fold strong leading edges, therefore requiring a softer throw and reducing your plane's thrust potential. It's also likely to stall if the center of gravity isn't far enough forward. And the wider you make the wings of your plane, the more they'll want to bend, even in spite of their strong leading edges, again reducing its thrust potential. Another challenge is that the more paper you devote to folding wide wings, the less paper you have left in the fuselage of the plane. I won't get into it too much in this video, but the fuselage of a paper airplane acts as a vertical stabilizer and is one of the things that helps a plane fly straight. If it's too small, you're going to have trouble keeping your plane on track for a long distance victory. However, it's worth noting that having a small fuselage isn't really a disadvantage if you're trying to achieve a long flight time and aren't concerned about your plane traveling in a straight path. Here's a picture of Sky King, the current world record holder for longest time aloft. You can see that Takuo Todo wasn't concerned with his plane flying straight. He just wanted it to fly for a long time. So the small vertical stabilizer isn't a problem. The balancing act continues when you consider the angle of your wings. Wings that are flat produce the most lift and are often employed on planes like Sky King that are designed to fly for long amounts of time. But if you angle your wings slightly upward, your plane will gain directional stability at the expense of some lift. This is called dihedral angle and is employed on many distance models. Angling the wings downward sacrifices both lift and directional stability, and is only used in a few specific scenarios, like if you're trying to get a plane to fly back to you. So you can see that, while it would be nice to be able to fold huge wings and maximize lift, there are some other design challenges to take into consideration. And while maximizing lift is a good goal in theory, a more realistic goal is to try and achieve the most lift possible without compromising the plane's structural integrity, or if you want it to fly far, the plane's directional stability. It's good to experiment with different wing sizes and angles for a given design and try to find the best balance for the performance you're hoping to achieve. Alright, now that you know how to maximize thrust and maximize lift, let's look at the force you want to minimize: drag. As your paper airplane moves forward, it has to push air molecules out of its way. In general, the less air your plane has to move, the less drag it will encounter. Now, there are actually some pretty complex aerodynamics at play when a paper airplane takes to the skies, but for the sake of this video, I'll be reducing my advice in this area to a single tip for eliminating excess drag. Try to fold your planes in such a way that they have as few forward-facing pockets as possible. These pockets catch air as the plane moves forward and will dramatically decrease its performance. This is a rule I sometimes break for the sake of aesthetics, but it always comes at a cost. Especially as your skills in origami develop and you're folding more complex planes, there may be times where you choose to break this rule. But don't do it without reason. The highest performance planes have layers that obey the direction of airflow. So let's recap the things we've discussed in this video. If you're hoping to design a high-performance paper airplane, there are three major goals you should aim for. You want to maximize thrust, and you achieve this by folding strong wings with many layers on their leading edges so you can throw the plane hard. You also want to maximize lift without sacrificing too much in other areas. This is a balancing act in which you try to find the right wing size and angle without compromising the wing strength or directional stability of your plane. And you want to minimize drag. While there are additional ways to achieve this that I may discuss in future videos, the fundamental rule here is to fold a plane without any forward-facing pockets. And there you go. Armed with these principles, you now know generally what it takes to make a good paper airplane. Get out there and get folding. And be sure to show me what you make by messaging me at facebook.com/foldableflight. Be sure to subscribe for more awesome paper airplane content by clicking on my channel icon in the top right corner. Or check out another one of my videos here. And if you really like what I do, head over to foldableflight.com or patreon.com/foldableflight. And as always, thank you for watching.